Good morning, this is Falcon's Frontier, on a journey exploring the landscapes of wondrous inspiration. Here at the Nest Apartments building in New Babbage, our journey from here will take us to the Embers Terminal, cast Aurora out into the atmosphere, have moments of reflective solitude, and descend and walk the green forests, conifer evergreen forests, to which are synonymous with Microtech, have moments of solitude and journey. Let's see where it takes us. So let's begin. Again, we're in the very salubrious but functional Nest Apartments building here at New Babbage. And as is customary before our departure is to ensure we do have our provisions with us, but we want to take some, always have some verse Java before our departure. And to our delight, the coffee machine actually is working. So, alas, we cannot access the verse cookies at present. But certainly an impressive sight of being able to. We do have a tea bottle here, so we'll see if we can get the cup. Hopefully, we should be able to retrieve it and then see if we can access the coffee machine. Obviously, unfortunately, we're unable to collect, so there's no additional cup for us to use, which is rather unfortunate. It was working before, but alas, we will endeavour to continue there. The daylight of New Babbage, the snow-covered ice space, the Blade Runner-esque hyper-reality. Let us continue the journey. We'll equip the helmet as well. And before we leave, we'll set the lighting into ambience. It was a great thing to see the descent into the secondary lighting of the apartments, different spaces and different environments, different properties, different worlds. It was a wondrous thing as well to capture the light of a new day, the distance, the interstellar spaceport, and this captivating space of the Nest Apartments building. Okay, multi-layered worlds of creativity, and this operatic soundscape in the background really adds to the high degree of emphasizing the scope and space of the environment. Certainly lots of platforms to land on. We will explore, actually, in a later presentation, the various structures, the buildings, perhaps use the hover quad to explore the entirety of New Babbage, but let's see what we can see. Okay, synonymous with the transportation systems within the verse, lifts and transit systems. We do have our provisions with us, so with that, what we need to do is get to the Embers Terminal. It was a good thing to capture sight of the various moments moving in and around these spaces, and observing them from various locations and perspectives gives a real sense of the scale of the environment. Head now to the spaceport. We do have our shuttle. Oh no, actually it's gone. The maglev shuttle. Hopefully won't experience any problems, as we always take the position at the front of the train, watching it depart. Most impressive thing to capture. Speed across the frozen lake, the distance. Such an impressive speed. Really does give a sense of the distance from the Spire Grand to the interstellar spaceport. Such impressive modalities of transport as well, from the maglev all the way to the Arcorp City Flight and the rather industrial trap system of Lorville, but obviously the Skyway shuttle system of Orison. Oops. The fellow in a hurry to get to the Embis terminal. Again, from moments of solitude to reflection, we will be doing tasking as well within the verse. This to aid in the exploration and discovery of the ambience of these spaces. Always feel the subsystems, the light systems, the clean, crisp aesthetics, and the very polished surfaces. Everything feels just new. It doesn't look overused, or it's kept to a great degree of standard of maintenance as we continue, ready to embrace the solitude of the verse. Oops, seems to be it was a sight to see the huge window pane here, separating the cool, frigid, sharp temperatures and wind chills from the temperate spaces that are contained within the interstellar spaceport.
The Empire is leader in cutting-edge technology, where creative innovation meets innocent creativity.
And we have a character who's practicing the art of Tai Chi.
For the latest updates on ship availability and gate assignments, please use one of the conveniently located
perhaps use the
Welcome to
ASOP
the
terminal.
ASOP vehicle retrieval system.
And we were previously on the surface of Microtech.
Your insurance claim has been sent.
Microtech, the Empire's leader in cutting-edge technology.
So we
Please
have
visit us again. Please visit us again. Goodbye. Welcome to the Your insurance claim has been sent.
So we have the couple of
Please
minutes to wait
visit us again.
Ready to
Goodbye.
upgrade.
before
Located in
our
Plaza, the factory line has all of Microtech's latest offerings.
journey to Microtech and the surface. Again, such incredible depth and detail, all rendered in such a fusion of textures, of spaces, really do transpose a sense of functional space,
Babbage has to offer, whether it's the latest in cutting-edge technology,
textures and
award-winning gardens.
vastly impressive environments.
Everything good?
Such a wonderful sight to see the new Babbage in its entirety. The Nest Apartments building as a centerpiece to the various systems, conduits, internal systems,
Hey.
and structures in and around this space.
From the best in shopping, dining, and entertainment.
It always feels a great degree of clean, a great degree of aesthetic. It is both a fusion of clean lines, brushed
For the
aluminium,
latest updates on ship availability,
frosted glass,
please use
and icy spaces.
designated terminals.
Let's see how long.
Welcome to the ASOP vehicle retrieval system. Your insurance claim has been sent. Your vehicle has been moved to our storage facility. Vehicle selected.
Remember,
Stand
your
by.
belongings belong to you.
Your vehicle has
And there
been
we have
delivered.
the
Please visit us
delivery
again.
of the vehicle.
Goodbye.
So let us off and see what we can see. There we have our journey to the hangar as we cast ourselves out to the solitude and silence of the verse. And there we have the humble Aurora waiting in this, dwarfed by this exceptionally large hangar. So, a useful craft, both of a nimble craft. It is spectacular in its presentation, application. The presence of the clean lines and reflective blue of the hangar. Let's open the door to the Aurora and board and change the soundscape to the comfortable temperature-controlled space of the Aurora, if we can. And there we have the exceptional space of the changing environment of the Aurora. I can feel the aesthetic of this newly delivered vehicle, both in its function, design, but also the fact that its clear, crisp, clean lines and its active systems resonate, fused together with a sense of elegance and presence. Let's engage the engines. let's engage and request our departure.
You are clear to launch.
The impressive sight is watching it from the hangar open from the distance behind the Aurora. There, the frigid cold accepted as it blasts through the hangar, causing the hangar itself to fill with this cool resonance, both light spaces and bitter cold. But we're protected in our Aurora, so let's raise up. Watch the gear retraction, and once more transition to a different soundscape. On the spectacular side is the Aurora now, just hovering above the surface, a distance from the interstellar spaceport. But in an ambience, the sound ambient effects of the Aurora, but also the environment of a different sound, silence and blizzard, which is surrounding our departure. Certainly impressive, capturing the sound as we leave the interstellar spaceport and head out up into the atmosphere. A fusion of both spaces of intrigue of the blue hue of the verse, the clouds casting shadows, and the snowy peaks of this world born from our continued wealth of creativity. Impressive sight, gaining so much height from the site of New Babbage. From once, the nest apartments there in the distance. But now, a series of interconnected patches, fused together with the beacons of the interstellar spaceport. All we can hear now is the resonance of the internal subsystems. Of the Aurora. A sound much like resting your head on the side of the fuselage of a departing aircraft as it rises with the morning sun. And all you can hear are the gentle sounds of the internal systems and the turbine as it settles into a comfortable ascent, drifting you off into a state of silence and slumber. Turn back now to the flight deck of the Aurora and see if we can enable a mapping to locate the focus of the green tundra to which we want to explore. Initialize the quantum travel. Reset our lock target to see what we can see. Let's recalibrate and transfer. Again, hopefully we can capture some of this spaces here. Hopefully, forests of green and spaces to which we can explore. Let's head towards down the surface now. Explore the exceptional fusion of both mossy tundras and deciduous trees, or conifers, rather. These evergreen plateaus to which we'll nestle down and see if we can find a dense spot where we can cast ourselves into a state of reflection and solitude. As always, this is a journey. Hopefully the sound output is okay as we head on through to this exceptional array of tree spaces and forests. Location. It represents the forest spaces of great density. As we cast ourselves through, we'll have an observation of the ship coasting through, although it does seem to vibrate. So we'll head back inside. Another spectacular sight skimming across the treetops. Again, we want to find suitable location in which we can touch down and explore. So many paces, so many viewpoints to absorb. We're just in the moment of trying to capture these few spaces and capture the ambience. There seems to be quite a large forest in the distance, the mountains in the background. With this, let us touch down here, deploy the gear, have a moment of reflection. Touching down onto this particular space, this hill here, this hilltop. Return back to the Aurora, now spool down. Systems. Another impressive moment as we hear the soundscape of the spooling down of the engines, sending the Aurora into a partial slumber, as the Aurora itself now. Still with internal systems operating. Let's lift ourselves off the environmentally controlled space and see if we can prepare an Armstrong moment. Walking within the conifers that are so synonymous with the frigid temperatures of Microtech. As the soundscape changes now. Let's find a pathway through the trees and close our sanctuary. So greeted by plant life, fell trees and lots of matter. Let's pick a location and head towards a journey space, and perhaps we'll see what we can see and then head over to a mountain peak if there is indeed some time. Let us begin the journey. Spectacular sight of the array of these evergreen trees, these Christmas trees. And now we're in the impressive space of this particular spot, somewhere on the surface of Microtech. From boulders to tree spaces, dense trees to sparse trees to pine Christmas trees. I wonder if in fact they give off the same signature scent. Perhaps this genus gives off a scent of a different space, a different kind. Some trees stripped bare of their branches from the volatile, terraformed weather of Microtech, and others with a spectacular sight as the other trees are also retaining the pine needles that are associated with these particular trees in this particular area of the verse. Capturing sight as well of the light rays of the sun being broken by the trees swaying in the frigid cool winds. Let's remove a helmet and ensure that we take invigorating, uplifting, rebalancing, fresh breath, clean, crisp, Microtech air to circulate through our physiology. As we continue the journey. There's more felled trees as a result. Of the extreme winds here experienced. You can almost feel the visceral nature of a fusion of pine scents, possibly mixed in with the 1 degree centigrade temperatures as we continue the journey. I'll try and capture solitude moments as well. As our senses are filled with a symphony of stimuli. From the auditory to the visual, the olfactory to the tactile. Presented here. Fusion, the dance of light and windy movements. If you've had the opportunity to visit the exceptional forest spaces of green and spaces of intrigue, the source of nature and inspiration, especially these kind of forests. Forests that are fused with these evergreen style conifers that tolerate the frigid environment of Microtech surface soil. Smaller Christmas trees, fusions of Christmas trees as bases, detritus, felled trees and enigmatic spaces. Indeed, born in the crucible of our imagination. retreated with the receding winds of the blizzard, and we plunged into a moment of silence. Slightly captivated. The elegance of the presentation. Of these forest tundras that cover the entirety of the surface. We'll have a movement, perhaps get to that clearing in the distance. A circular enclosure of trees. And stop for a moment as we harvest these inspirational moments. And we want to make sure that our harvest is bountiful. Let us proceed to the central space here. And see what we can discern. Especially with that rocky cliff, that huge rock face in the distance. Let us have now a moment of solitude. guided moments of wonder and journey, of spaces of inspiration born from the very crucible of our imagination. Here, our character, Jared Newton, a singular speck in the entirety of this evolving space. Somewhere in the forest green tundras and conifers, forests tolerating the winds of Microtech, the light of this space, somewhere on the surface of Microtech, somewhere in the vast and ever-evolving verse. As we capture the sounds of the sights, the symphony of senses, of light spaces, and of windy tones, here, the bastion of creativity, on a continued journey to find that landscape of wondrous inspiration. It was a short moment of inspiration, was panning round and seeing such a dense degree of tree spaces as well. Not too far away from the Aurora. A spectacular sight, though, of the light of the star, daylight reflecting, being broken by some of the trees and also filtering through, where some parts of the planet, the surface, are cast in shadows, where others are basking in light. So many frames, so many spaces to capture. But hopefully, our little Tundra trek can instill a sense of wondrous inspiration, as we're still enamored by the assault on the senses of this perfect symphony of visual splendors and auditory wonders. Quite a field of flowers here, quite a large patch of Microtech's unique flora here. I'll head over to this spectacular protruding cliff face or rock face, and we'll head over to the small platform in the distance and turn towards the forest in total and see if we can capture forgetting to ensure that we capture moments, all the while absorbing the crisp, light, refreshing Microtech air that's giving us that sense of invigorating movement, replenishing, revitalizing, and rebalancing our space in this world. One of many to visit and explore, but we intend to do so. Coming up to the rocky face here, so what we'll do is we'll try and find a... I fear I don't want to get trapped in the clutches of the rock face. If we do, but we'll stand close to it, perhaps up here, without falling. Turn to observe the rock faces, the spectacular sight of the contrast, the blue hue and the rock face, the emerging verse, in the distance. An entire view of where we've come from, not too far from the Aurora, so we can still proceed on the journey, but considering our time, perhaps what we'll do this time is head back to the Aurora and nestle within the small space that it has, to which we can cast ourselves into a slumber after our journey from the Nest Apartments in New Babbage to the comfortable surround of the Aurora's resting area. So I think we'll head back and let's just have a further capture of these environments. Such a spectacular sight of the clouds, the treetops, and the verse in the distance, beyond Microtech's atmosphere. The opportunity, in fact, to practice the art of outdoor or camping, nature, and walking within nature itself. It's especially rewarding if you make plains like these your home for the evening. I had a pan and you can see the exceptional array of flower plains here, the flower plains of Microtech. The distant boulder, rock face in the distance, there's so many mountaintops as well. And the next presentation, perhaps we can capture the setting of Stanton. On this solitary journey of the ebb and flow, of moments of stimulating wonder, casting our senses into the wondrous abyss and void of all. Her helmet is off at the moment, so we're making sure that we get the full effect of the frigid winds that are brought over, perhaps, most likely from the snowy mountain peaks, accompanied by extreme wind chill, ensuring that our extremities are suitably cool to that comfortable temperature, but invigorated by the warmth, the comfortable embrace of the Aurora. And when we equip our helmet, getting the full rays of Stanton, light of daylight casting its rays and creating shadows. On the forest floor. Certainly experience to be able to walk in these spaces and experience the different feelings, perhaps, modalities of the environment, different ambience or the essence of each particular space, from the busy ports of New Babbage to the snowy peaks of the mountain ranges, to these plateaus of moss green tundra, the unmistakable signature of evergreen trees. This particular tree here, in this particular space, braving the blizzards. As it towers up towards the blue hue at the base. born within the crucible of our unbound capacity and capability to create. Well, we're getting ever closer now to the Aurora. So what we'll do now is climb into the Aurora, where you get that feeling when you have a trek within the fields and mountains, that unmistakable difference between the change in temperature, the outside, just after you pass through into a different environment, more temperate, cozy spaces, and you get that tingling feeling all around the extremities after absorbing all that clean, crisp, fresh Microtech air. And we return back to the polished spaces of the Aurora. Excellent sight at which the light of the daylight is reflected of the composite windows of the ship. I presume if you were to place your hand onto the exterior of the Aurora, it would be uncomfortably cool to the touch after braving the winds and passing by and through it. Stupefyingly excellent, perhaps stimulating, perhaps invigorating journey trek through one part of the entirety of these spaces, one part of the entirety of the planet of Microtech. Now we retreat back into the solitary wonder and quietness and temperature-controlled environment of the Aurora. And to make sure that we reach the Aurora directly without having to fall and to break the immersion, but we'll see what happens. From the transition outside to the transition and a change in the soundscape. To us, we'd have to try the other side actually and see if that works. See if we're able to break the immersion. Business end of the defensive weapons here. Front. The spectacular reflection of the forest. Let's try this side and see if we can climb in. We're going to need to break the immersion slightly. Walk in now. Let's just absorb the difference in the soundscape. Tingling feeling that you get. You transfer from the outside, the frigid, cool, refreshing outside, to cozy enclosures of peace and quiet, of solitude and silent reflection. Making the journey itself that more visceral in its experience. Now let us cast ourselves into a state of slumber after the nature check through the forests. And all we can hear now, the eternal subsystems of the Aurora, casting ourselves off into a slumber as we reflect on the wonder spaces of our journey, moments of solitude and inspiration as we capture forest spaces, the enigmatic dance of light, of wind, and of moments of solitude and elegance. Clock's Frontier will now leave you with the sight of the surround of the Aurora as we hear the subsystems cast ourselves off into a comfortable state of slumber. This is Falcon's Frontier, wishing you a safe and inspirational journey onwards. Until our next adventure, goodbye for now.